Hello everyone and welcome to Music Theory with GUIM. In this installment, we're going to continue our education of the Augmented 6th technique by covering what is referred to as the German Augmented 6th, as well as a derivative form called the Doubly Augmented 4th. This will, like the Italian chord, include the construction and general voice leading guidelines of the German chord. First, let's build an Italian Augmented 6th in the key of G minor. This requires the bass note be set to E flat along with the tones G and C sharp. In order to make a German Augmented 6th, we simply must add the perfect fifth of E flat, which is the note B flat. In relation to the tonality, this is the minor third scale degree. As a result, we now know that the German Augmented 6th chord uses the minor 6th scale degree as its bass, the perfect first scale degree as its third, the minor third scale degree as its fifth, and the augmented 4th scale degree as its augmented 6th. In terms of voice leading, the chord presents the potential issue of parallel fifths between the augmented 6th and the 5 chord. This is typically taught to be avoided, but certainly has its place in music. Regarding the E flat German Augmented 6th chord, this means we would resolve E flat and C sharp to an octave of D, G would descend to F sharp, and B flat would descend to A, thus forming a complete D major triad, the 5 of G minor. If you wish to avoid parallel fifths, there are numerous options, and these typically are a result of suspensions or delayed resolutions. For instance, we may offset the parallel fifths by sustaining the note B flat, the fifth of the German chord, and then resolve it downwards once the other tones have resolved. This would create a minor 6-5 suspension, which would initially sound like what you might call an augmented triad, until the suspension has been resolved. You may also choose to raise the fifth of the German chord up to the minor 7th of the 5 chord, thus creating a 5-7 with its fifth omitted. This too will avoid parallel fifths. In conjunction with the former movement, you could retain the third of the German chord for a 4-3 suspension. But one of the most common procedures, which also has the added benefit of intensifying the resolution to the 5 chord, is to utilize the cadential 6-4, which is built by resolving only the augmented 6th and the bass tone of the German chord while retaining its third and fifth. As a result, we will have a minor 6-5 suspension and a 4-3 suspension, assuming we resolve directly from the cadential 6-4 to the 5 or 5-7 chord. The previous example uses the minor variant of the cadential 6-4. If you wish to use the major variant of the cadential 6-4, then you must raise the fifth of the German chord by a semitone when resolving to the cadential 6-4. This will create a major 6-5 suspension rather than the minor 6-5 suspension. Choosing to do this, however, changes the German Augmented 6th chord into the Doubly Augmented 4th chord, and that is because the fifth will be rewritten as a fourth to demonstrate the upward resolution to the 6th of the 5 chord. Or, in other words, B flat will be rewritten as A sharp to demonstrate the upward ascent to B natural. In case you've never heard of a doubly augmented interval, this simply means that an interval has been raised twice. In this case, the perfect fourth has been raised to an augmented fourth, and then once again to become doubly augmented. This theory, however, is not always put into practice. For instance, many scorers will write the doubly augmented 4th chord simply as a German Augmented 6th with a perfect fifth. That said, even if you choose to write it as a standard German Augmented 6th chord, at least be certain to understand why the doubly augmented 4th could be used. Now, one interesting utilization of the cadential 6-4 is to integrate both of them. By this it is meant that the cadential 6-4 is initially heard as either a major or minor variant and then altered to become the other. This can be used to create a chromatic line ascending to the minor 7th of the 5-7 chord, or to create a chromatically descending line from the major 6th to the 5th of the 5 chord. So as you're probably beginning to notice, there are many options when determining how one should voice lead the resolution of the German Augmented 6th chord to the 5 chord. And rather than continue to write more variations, I encourage you to try and come up with some of your own once you've thoroughly understood these options. In the meantime, let's review the information covered. The German Augmented 6th chord uses the same tones as the Italian Augmented 6th chord with the addition of the perfect fifth. This utilizes the minor 6th, perfect 1st, minor 3rd, and the augmented 4th scale degrees of the tonality as the bass tone, major 3rd, perfect 5th, and augmented 6th of the German variant. In terms of voice leading, all principles of the Italian Augmented 6th remain. The 5th, however, can potentially present the issue of parallel fifths. This is typically avoided by utilizing suspensions or delayed resolutions, the most common of which being the cadential 6/4. When utilizing the major cadential 6/4, the German chord can be respelled as the doubly augmented 4th chord to indicate the ascending semitone resolution. Now, should any of this content create questions, feel free to leave a comment below. In the meantime, I encourage you to write this chord type in as many keys as you can and try a variety of resolutions. In the next episode, we are going to cover the French Augmented 6th chord, and this is easily the most dissonant of the chord types. Until then, thank you for watching another episode of Music Theory with GUIM.